Hi, welcome back to Wayfinder. In today's video, I'm talking about water, specifically water pumps and sterilizers for drinking water to keep you getting after it on your backcountry adventures. Now, whether you're heading into the outdoors for a few hours, a few days, or even a few weeks, you're going to need clean drinking water. For day trips, it's feasible to carry all the water you need, but for anything longer than that, unless you want to carry a ridiculously heavy pack, you're going to need to be able to source clean water in the field. And even for a day trip, it's worth having some means of getting clean water in case you get stuck out for longer than you anticipate. Now, one of the first questions you might ask is, do I really need to purify water? Now, here in Australia, if you have no agriculture or industry upstream of where you are, then the water is probably fairly safe. But over and over again, I hear stories of people getting giardia or diarrhea from drinking water, even in remote wilderness areas. So for me, I don't take any chances anymore, and I use some means of purifying my water every time I gather it from a stream. There are loads of products and methods out there for purifying water. In fact, the oldest method is still probably one of the best, and that's boiling the water. Now, the key to purifying water when you boil water is you need to get it to a rolling boil, and you need to hold that at a rolling boil for at least 1 minute at sea level. And if you're above 1,000 meters in elevation, it's recommended that you hold it at 3 minutes of a rolling boil, due to the fact that at that elevation, water boils at a slightly lower temperature. Obviously, you'll need a pot and a heat source to do that, and you also need to consider that if you're drawing water from a muddy source, you probably want some way to filter the mud out of that before it gets into your pot, because even if it's purified, it can be pretty uncomfortable to drink mud. One way to do this is simply to put a cloth over the top of your water bottle as you gather water from whatever water source you have. Another potential way to do it is to actually let the muddy water get into your water bottle or whatever it is that you're scooping the water up with, and then actually filter it through the cloth and into your pot. Personally, I'd rather filter it into the bottle or receptacle first than get mud into that and then have to clean that later. But there you go, sometimes you may not have that choice, in which case you might want to actually filter it into the pot out of a muddy water bottle. Another simple method to purify water is the use of water purification tablets. Now, these can be either chlorine-based or iodine-based, and they can sometimes impart a taste onto the water. Also, if they're iodine-based, there can be some health complications for some people, and it's worth looking into that for yourself if you have thyroid issues or other issues that you think might impact upon this. Once again, the same as boiling, you probably want to remove any mud or silt from the water if you can, just because it's unpleasant to drink that sort of thing. Of course, there are easier, faster, more high-tech solutions out there, and I'm going to go over 5 of these in today's video. 2 of the solutions I'm going to go over are filter pumps that are slightly larger and great for longer trips or for groups. 2 are lightweight and much better suited just for personal use. And 1, it's a little bit gimmicky, but it's an interesting solution nonetheless. Starting with the 2 pumps, I have this Katadyn Hiker Pro and Msr Hyperflow filter. This is the Katadyn Hiker Pro. And the Msr Hyperflow. Both of these pumps utilise a microfilter to filter out organisms. Basically, you're pumping water through tiny tubes that bacteria and other microorganisms can't travel through and are hence removed from the water that winds up in your water bottle or your pot. This also has the effect of minimising silt getting into your water sources. However, both of these pumps have a tendency to clog up if you're using them in muddy water. They both have pre-filters on them. Also, the Katadyn in particular has another pre-filter wrapped around the outside of the filter element itself. And I found in use that this one is slightly easier to maintain in the field, but the Msr Hyperflow, on the other hand, pumps water a little faster. They're both reliable, fast and easy. I've pumped hundreds of litres with both of them without any issues whatsoever. If I had to pick one over the other, it's a tough call. Generally, I'd probably say the Msr Hyperflow because it's just a little bit faster to pump water with. But if I thought that there was somewhere it might be silty water, or perhaps there's a lot of tannins in the water from leaves and things like that, I might go for the Katadyn because it also has activated charcoal in it and removes some of the taste out of the water that might otherwise just be a bit of a bitter residue. The only downside with both of these pumps is they don't filter out waterborne viruses. Now, this is because the viruses themselves are so small they'll actually go through the microfilters. Now, this is unlikely to be too much of a problem in Australia. However, I still like to then go over the top of that with a SteriPen. And a SteriPen is a device that emits ultraviolet light, and ultraviolet light is one of the things that kills a virus. It's simple and easy to do and doubles up and ensures. So I've removed silt, I've removed microorganisms like Giardia and other bacteria and protozoas, and then finishing up with a SteriPen, I can kill off any viruses that may be sitting in the water. Now, should you be travelling overseas or in tropical countries where you think viruses might be an issue, definitely need to use a SteriPen or something like that to inoculate or remove any of that virus material. Another way, of course, is either using water purification tablets or boiling the water. This will also get rid of viruses. Next, I have this small pump called an Msr Trail Shot. And this is what I carry with me everywhere. It's great for one-person use. It's a little bit more arduous to use as you can get a little bit of hand fatigue using it. Basically, it's a microfilter, the same as the Msr Hyperflow or the Katadyn Hiker Pro, and works in the same way. And with the same caveat, it won't remove viruses from the water. But for me, I find this to be a fantastic solution, easy to use. If it does start to clog up or get hard to use, it actually can be backwashed simply by shaking it and remove some of the sediment back out of it. Then I have this water bottle made by a company called Soya Filters. Now, this integrates a microfilter into the drinking tube. The Soya make a range of fantastic filter products. Often what they'll do is it'll have a filter on a tube between two water bladders, and you simply squeeze one water bladder full with dirty water, and that goes through the filter and into the next water bladder, which will then be your clean drinking water. This particular water bottle here, it works really well, really simple. You just fill it up from a water source and drink, and away you go. My only issue with this personally is the fact that because the filter is integrated into this water bottle, I can't really fill other water bottles with it. I could potentially use the filter inside and hook that up between two bladders in the way that other Soya products use, but just as a standalone, it just means I can only really carry away 1 litre of water from a water source if I want to purify. Now, the last one I've got here, and this one's a little bit gimmicky in my opinion, is this. It's called a life straw, and basically it also has a microfilter inside this metal tube. You'll place one end in the water and suck on the other one. Look, I guess it's really lightweight. You can throw it in a pocket, you don't even know it's there. But because you're not filtering into a container, you can't take water with you. It's only good where you're at the water source. So for me, it's a little bit gimmicky, maybe survival situation type stuff. Now, as I've mentioned, none of these pumps will remove viruses from the water. The viruses are so small, they'll pass through those micro tubes, and so they're still in the water. Boiling or water purification tablets, they will both kill viruses in the water. Another method to do it is the use of a SteriPen. Now, a SteriPen uses ultraviolet light, which it emits throughout the water through this basically an ultraviolet light globe here, and that will kill any virus material that's in the water. Some of the downsides, however, to using this particular thing is that it's battery intensive. In fact, I've found in my own personal use that I get 1 or 2 uses out of it and the battery dies. It's meant to be able to filter 150 litres of water, so 150 uses per battery. In my experience, the batteries don't last that long. Another potential downside is you need to ensure that any silt or mud is removed from the water, as cloudy water can mean that not all of the water particles or all of the water is exposed enough to the light to kill off viruses. So you do need to make sure that you strain the water clean or pre-pump it through a pump to make sure that all silt is removed from the water to ensure the SteriPen is effective. Otherwise, however, it's an amazing solution. No chemicals, no residue, no taste, really nice and simple, and keeps you really safe. Kills waterborne viruses, microorganisms like bacteria and protozoa such as Giardia. It's a no-brainer. So there you go, water purification. Boiling water, it's oldest, it's a simple method, works, it's fuel intensive, it's good to remove mud from the water if you can, prior to doing it, otherwise it's going to leave you with yucky, disgusting water to drink. However, it'll keep you alive. Also has water purification tablets. Once again, good to strain your water to remove any mud or anything like that prior to use, or else there's a range of different pumps and sterilising filters on the market, such as the 5 I've just shown you. Always keep in mind that a lot of these filters don't remove viruses, so you might have to come along afterwards with something like SteriPen to kill off any virus if you feel that the water source you're drawing from might have a viral load. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. If there's anything you'd like me to cover in future, please let me know in the comments. I'd love it if you'd subscribe and hit the like button as well, as it really helps my channel. Whatever it is that you're into, I hope you're getting after it. Thanks very much for watching and have a nice day.